What's up, programmer? In this video, I'm going to explain while loops in C++. So, what are while loops? While loops are conditional loops that will repeat a process while the condition specified is true. The while loop will continue to run until the condition specified is false. Now, I'm going to show you how to create while loops in C++. To create a while loop, all you have to do is type the word while, then type two parentheses, and then in the parentheses, you specify the condition that you want for the while loop to be true. And then you type the two curly brackets. You want to make sure that the condition that you typed it between the two parentheses is the condition that you want in order for the while loop to continue. Now, how the while loop works is that the code that we write in between the curly brackets is what's going to be processed again and again. The while loop will continue to run while the condition that you wrote in the parentheses is true. Also, because the while loop will continue to run until it's false, you will need to specify a method to exit the while loop, otherwise you will be running the while loop for an indefinite amount of time. This is known as an infinite loop. The infinite loop is something you want to avoid while using a while loop. Now, in this example that I created, I have an integer variable called x, and I set the variable to be 1. Then I created a while loop, and in the conditions, I specified that the while loop will run as long as x does not equal to 10. In order for the while loop to not be an infinite loop, I have stated that the x variable will increase its value by 1 every single time the while loop runs. As a result, the while loop should run for 9 times, and also it will print out the value of the x variable on the console. When we run the program, you can see that the while loop ran for a total of 9 times, and the code in between the curly brackets was processed. Remember that the condition in the parentheses is what is being checked. Since I placed the x does not equal to 10 in the parentheses, the while loop will only run 9 times, and then it will exit the while loop. Now, another thing that you need to know about while loops is that if the condition that you specify for the while loop initially was already false, then the program will actually just skip over the while loop and it will not run the while loop. In this example, I changed the condition in the parentheses so that it states that x does not equal to 1. This will make it so that the while loop will be false initially. Look what happens to the while loop next. As you can see, the while loop did not run because the condition for the while loop was false. If the condition was true, then it would have ran. This is a very common mistake where you want to run a while loop, but the condition you wrote for the while loop is false. So you want to make sure that you double check the condition that you wrote for the while loop every time that you want to run it. Comment down below if you found this video helpful so far, or you have any questions you want to ask. Now, another thing you need to know about while loops is that there's actually another version of the while loop called a do while loop. The do while loop is a different version of the while loop that specifies that it will process what is between the curly brackets at least once, and then it will continue to do so while the specified condition is still true. To write a do while loop, all you have to do is type the word do, then type two curly brackets, and then afterwards type the word while, and then type two parentheses and specify the condition that you want in between the parentheses, and then a semicolon in the end. Now, you may notice that the do while loop looks different compared to a while loop, but it actually runs the same. The only difference is that the do while loop will run the loop at least once, while the while loop won't even run it once when the initial condition is false. In this example, I have a do while loop that will run as long as x does not equal to 10. Just like the while loop, in order for the do while loop to not be an infinite loop, I have stated that the x variable will increase its value by 1 every time the do while loop runs. As a result, the do while loop will also run 9 times. When we run the program, you can see that the do while loop ran for a total of 9 times, and the code between the curly brackets was processed. Remember that the do while loop will run the code at least once. That is why it ran for a total of 9 times. It ran once, then it ran another 8 times. If the specified condition that you have in a do while loop is false initially, it will still run it once. In this example, I changed the conditions so that x does not equal to 2. The do while loop will still run once, but then since x is increased by 1 and it now equals to 2, the x variable won't match the condition in the parentheses, so the do while loop will stop. When we run the program, you can see that the do while loop only ran once because the condition for the do while loop was false afterwards. Make sure you understand the difference between a while loop and a do while loop. A while loop won't run if the condition specified is false. On the other hand, a do while loop will run at least once even though the condition specified is false. Additionally, if you are going to be using while loops in your program, you want to make sure that you also understand logical operators, which are operators that you will use to create the conditions in the while loops. I will demonstrate logical operators in this video, so you want to go watch that video next. Anyways, this is Easy Syntax showing you programming made easy. Thank you for watching.